Good morning to my fellow teachers and a warm welcome to today's presentation on imagination and creativity in education. I've put this presentation together in a format that is easy to comprehend and understand. Today I will cover the importance of imagination and creativity, the benefits it offers, the roles of imagination and creativity, and how we can teach it to our students so we create a generation of innovative people. I believe by the end of this presentation, you will all agree that imagination is a key factor in the education of children. Whilst the retention of knowledge is paramount to the learning experience, the ability to teach a child how to use their imagination in conjunction to their knowledge will ultimately lead to a more creative outcome, therefore unlocking doors to the future and building a place full of magic and surprise. To define both of these key terms, the Cambridge Dictionary states imagination being the ability to form mental pictures of people, things, or to have new ideas. In addition to this, the Cambridge Dictionary also defines creativity being the ability to produce original and unusual ideas or to make something new or imaginative. When putting both of these terms together, they are intimately related, like brother and sister. As Albert Einstein once said, imagination is more important than knowledge. And as Isaac Newton once said, no great discovery was ever made without a bold guess. Great scientists of the past understood that it is one thing to have knowledge, but without imagination, there is no spark that fires. Knowledge is the fuel, imagination is the spark, and you can't combust that fuel unless you have the imaginative spark. Everything inspiration that takes place in the world is due to imagination. Therefore, without the imagination to instigate the proceedings of what will be in the future reflects back onto an individual's imagination and creativity abilities. For example, the internet, smartphones, electric vehicles, and innovative software applications have drastically altered the way we live and work in the 21st century. It took someone's imagination to invent a car that drives on autopilot, being able to find an answer on Google within seconds, and being able to FaceTime someone on the other side of the world. These extraordinary thoughts that was once imagined has now become a reality. Over the past 2 years of the COVID-19 pandemic, online learning platforms such as Zoom have been formed from imagination. Someone used their imagination to come up with the concept of learning from home in restrictive times like this. Thankfully, we have the technology to do this, and as a result, it has achieved more than one purpose. It achieved the ability to maintain a level of teaching with students. It has also maintained that teachers keep their role in their jobs as they work from home. A necessity has therefore been created. Adedoyin and Soikan suggest that digital competence should be embedded into the teaching and learning process of all subjects, and learners must be literate with digital competency, as this is now relevant in modern society. The many benefits of creativity. Creativity allows us to express ourselves. It promotes thinking outside the box and problem solving. It gives us a sense of purpose, allows us to have fun and reduces stress and any anxieties we may have. And it also leads us to feelings of accomplishment and pride, and therefore encourages us to be lifelong learners. Now, these benefits of imagination and creativity thoroughly link to education. This is because imagination excites children's curiosity and passion for learning. It enables learning to happen as the mind opens up to new possibilities. This supports the development of lateral thinking and problem-solving skills that are necessary for academic success. Creativity is as important in education as literacy, and we should treat it with the same status, quoted by Ken Robinson. From my perspective, I highly resonate with this because a student may have the literacy knowledge, but without imagination and creativity instilled into the individual, a fictional narrative has no meaning or purpose. This brings me to the importance of these key terms. It aids in the development of social, emotional, problem-solving, physical and creative skills, which therefore impacts on a child's learning. This leads to critical thinking, which is demonstrated in the general capabilities from the Australian curriculum. Also, decision-making skills and an overall understanding of the world. Being a teacher and having the responsibility to obtain a creative classroom allows students to express their ideas freely and promotes intrinsic motivation. This means that students think outside the box, learn faster and more effectively. It is highly significant for students to spend time outdoors, invent scenarios, participate in verbal activities, engage in art activities, and asking our children open-ended and thought-provoking questions, and most importantly, limiting the screen time, as all of this highly stimulates a child's brain. The fundamental roles of imagination and creativity therefore prepares students for a future of creating innovative solutions, and it also plays a role in improving a teacher's professional practice, which means activities and lessons become more rich and meaningful. It is a widely considered misconception that many people have that imagination and creativity is only exclusive to the arts learning area of the Australian curriculum. Now, in my opinion, this is incorrect because based on a teacher's planning, lessons can be as creative and engaging as they make them. A teacher can implement a variety of strategies for children to think creatively and become curious about their learning in all of the learning areas across the curriculum. So the question is, how do we successfully teach imagination and creativity to children? Incorporating the 4Cs model into our pedagogies is the cornerstone of our students succeeding within their learning. Critical thinking, collaboration, creativity, and communication are all skills of the 21st century learning and are essential for building a student's imagination and creativity. Critical thinking looks for finding solutions to problems and having a different outlook on those issues. Collaboration allows the students to work together to tackle issues, problem solve, and reach for goals. Creativity results in the students thinking outside the box and trying new approaches to solve problems. And finally, communication provides students with sharing thoughts, ideas, and questions. This model, I believe, is significant to implement into your lesson planning as it assists students with higher order thinking and develops long life skills. Based on Gardner's multiple intelligences theory, it was indicated that this model significantly stimulated students' creative thinking ability. Hence, it was concluded that strategies found on the theory were more effective in improving students' creative thinking ability than traditional teaching. Now, in correlation with this, it is highly important for us teachers to know how our students learn and their individual and unique intelligences, so our students can be creative through their style of learning and be successful throughout all learning areas. So, despite the fact of the guidelines that the Australian curriculum may have in place, it is totally up to the teacher as to whether or how much imagination, creativity, and innovation a teacher chooses to input into lessons and students' learning. I believe it is a necessity for teachers to implement and shape creative and imaginative minds because knowledge is one thing, but the functional use of that knowledge is only worth anything if it is combined with imagination. It is up to the teacher to instill that creativity and imagination into the students. Giving the knowledge is irrelevant if students aren't involved in the creative and imaginative process to use that knowledge. Knowledge is dormant until it is ignited with the spark of imagination. An imagination inspired in mathematics may go on to be an Isaac Newton. An imagination inspired in science may go on to be an Albert Einstein. It may be a child in your class that becomes that person. Thank you for listening to this presentation on imagination and creativity. I hope this presentation has transformed your thinking, and I hope you have taken away something from this. Let's create an innovative generation.